Good morning. I'm running out of coffee here because I was sitting and I was watching YouTube videos. Yeah, I like that one Xander something or other. He does a lot of wilderness camping. Young and strong. He can do all that stuff. I'm a pansy these days. Can't even get my vacuuming done, let alone chop up some wood. Mercy. The other thing I've been doing is listening to a lot of widow videos. Sevilla, I love. She's very interesting, kind of new agey counselor, does widow videos, does a lot on dating. I'm not into that. But, yeah. And then One Happy Widow. I also was watching a lot of David Kessler because Sevilla, I love, recommends him as a grief expert. I have a hard time getting through his videos. I don't know. I like certain things. I like, just get to the facts, okay? Get to the facts, says the rambling woman. I guess sometimes it's hard to just get to the facts. You got to do a lot of, pre-stuff. So then I was listening to One Happy Woman, One Happy Widow, and doesn't sound too happy. One of her latest, I guess she released some videos about the struggles with her children and, combining a blended family because she was young, and she remarried another widower, man. He had 3 kids, she had 4, and it wasn't the Brady Bunch. But, yeah. Here's the problem with marriage. Their family comes with it. Let me tell you, I had some toxic former in-laws. Man, what a time that was. Glad that's over. But the hurt never ends of what they did and how they did it. But One Happy Widow was talking about estranged children. And then the children using the grandchildren as leverage to get the situation they want. I don't know about her, but I'd be like, you know what you can do? And it just got me thinking about my children. I have 4. Now, Rachel is my oldest, and she was from my first marriage, but Dennis just grabbed her up, embraced her, and made her his own, adopted her and everything. And then Dennis Jr. came along. I wanted a baby right away because I didn't want Rachel to grow up without siblings, And after that, I asked for Michael. I said, hey, can we have another? And he said, sure. And we were in pretty rough financial condition, and I wish I could do a million things over. I wish I could do a million things over. But we had Michael, and our lives weren't easy, okay? If any children had a right to be pissed off at their parents, my children should have disowned me long ago. And then Bonnie was my passion baby, I had, and I wanted to do a little video for her, covering that, so we won't talk about that right now. But she has plenty of reason to be pissed at me, and yet they all love and embrace me. I had to have done something right, but for the life of me, I couldn't tell you what. Really. I mean, they give me hints of some things. You know, once I got out of my judgmental Christian self, I could hear them. The compassion, the empathy was able to flow. And the greatest endeavor of my life was to be a mother. That's what I wanted from young. I wanted a husband and a family and a little farmhouse in Vermont with chickens and goats. And I never got any of that because Dennis said to me, "I'm not a farmer, Nikki, I'm a merchant." And that pretty much busted my dream. Even though I'd keep trying to go back to it over the years, that's one of the things I wish I would have embraced differently, is that we were merchants. And I kind of did, you know. We got campers and we had 2 vans and we traveled to shows. And, you know, Dennis was always, no, no, no. Dennis was the no man, not the yes man. And after a while, I just went over his head. Came home with a ferret one day. But it stinks! Yeah, it does stink. Ferrets are smelly. Rachel would keep him clean and spray him with this apple spray. And they wanted a pet, you know. And there were hamsters. So many hamsters. And then there was a lovebird. So we had like 3 kids and 3 pets, 2 vans, a Wells cargo trailer, and the Shasta camper. Shasta camper. I've had it out. Give me a second. I've had it out because I just want to remember. Have I ever showed you that? That's the one I fell off the back of the truck and onto the hitch. Man, was I bruised. See how the Wells cargo trailer, the opening's right there? Well, for the life of me, that wasn't secured in the front. And so when I stepped onto the back, I was catapulted into the camper's trailer hitch. Ah, mercy. I'm probably going to be going back to something like that very soon. Yeah, very soon. We'll talk about that later. But for now, I want to talk about my children. You really got to be careful what you say on video about your kids. Did I have troubles with some of my children? Oh, well, yeah. The boys were easy. Oh my God, the boys were easy. They had each other. They had a moral code. And they stuck to it and encouraged each other. And I don't know, the girls were like their mother. Wild and free, wild and free. Mercy. But, you know, I'm not going to specify things because I don't think it's right. I want to talk about what I did wrong. Maybe that's why they can forgive me, because I might cringe when they tell me something and wished I hadn't done what I had done, but I always say I'm sorry. And I mean it. And I try to make up for it in various ways. They know I'd probably give them my last penny if they needed it. I would. They know I'd probably give up my life for them if I could, if that were necessary and a possibility. And while I did a lot of things wrong, I did a lot of things right. I was the mom who baked cookies. I was a mom mostly at home until we started traveling on the road, and then we were the road family, but I still, made meals on the road. I made sure they had fun and found other kids to play with and got some sort of education. We were pretty much unschoolers at one point. I threw up my hands and said, enough! And we just kind of went on an adventure of, I loved history. So, we talk about history, and when we were at libraries, or if we were at a store and I found like a science kit, I'd bring that home so they could learn a concept. Home might have been a camper. Might have been my mother's downstairs room. She had a split ranch, is that what you call it? The top and then the bottom, I don't know. And the kids kind of lived down in that in the summers. And she loved having them, But estranged children, I only experienced it once when I had to walk away for 2 years from my bipolar daughter. And she said it was the best thing I could have ever done for her. So I followed my instinct, but then my heart missed her so much. But we have such a good relationship now. I did have to use tough love, but then it resolved itself, and I was the one that reached out to her when I was ready. And she was ready. That was painful. But like I say, our relationship now is the best it's ever been. And then Bonnie and I have had our misgivings, but she always wanted to resolve things quickly, and we did. Well, sometimes it took a few weeks, and then I could, cool down and express what I was upset about. And the boys have plenty to hold against me, but they're really forgiving. Really, really forgiving. They all miss their dad very much, and there was a lot of strife in our household, I've mentioned it before. Dennis and I, he was Taurus the bull, and I was Cancer the crab, and, and it was a bull and claw fight. What can I say? We were very passionate people, him and I, and, it was always a knockdown, drag-out fight without hitting. But I'll tell you, some verbal punches are way worse than physical. That's one thing I regret. But knowing the two personalities, there was no reconciling. After a while, I just gave up, and I'd be like, he can have his way. I once read that one person usually gives 90%. And while he was a hard worker and provided for us, what was it I wanted to say? Oh no, I'm getting dementia. I've been listening to a lot of dementia videos too. And this thing of losing thought track and ideas. Ouch. Oh, see, this is when I wish I had a regular camera so I could go back and look at what I just said. Maybe I'll get a camera. Get away. It just, there was that dynamic of him and I constantly at battle. And, but we loved each other. Go figure, He did say to me once, I was one that was always like, I'm leaving, or you're leaving. And he never, ever wanted to leave. One time he said, I did, there's one time because I asked him, I said, did you ever want to leave me? He said, there was one time I seriously contemplated a divorce. He said, I just felt like this was more than, I could take anymore, and maybe it would be the best for everybody if, And I was like, you're kidding. Here I was, the once a month, I'm leaving, you're leaving. But the minute I felt secure enough with him to be able to feel like leaving, he never ever said that to me, never, until that one time I asked him, did you ever think about it? Like the time that a beautiful woman from one of the shows wanted him to come home with her. He told me all about it. He told me about the whole conversation at the bar, what they talked about, and then she says to the bartender, last call, we're closing now. She turned to him and said, what do we do now? And he said, and I know Dennis, he would have definitely said this. He says, now you're going to go back to your hotel and I'm going to go back to my van. It was very nice to meet you. Dennis. He was charismatic, boy, oh boy. I'm telling you, women loved him. Mercy. They tell me to my face that they loved him. Not like I'm in love with your husband. It's more like, a Jewish woman. He's such a mensch. That's another story. And, but there were the women that would come up to me and say, how can you allow him to talk to you like that, But this is supposed to be about my children. But that was part of raising children, that Dennis and I were always butting heads. But when we had fun, oh, Lordy, did we have fun. A lot of laughter in that house, not just fighting, He was crazy. He was, sometimes I'd look at him and I'd think, like, why'd I marry him? Because, I was, when I wasn't drinking or drugging, I was a very conservative person. And he'd say the damnedest things, and I'd be like, whoa, who is this person? And he also was a very private person on the other hand, he didn't like, I could never be friends with anyone he would pull away. It was the oddest thing. I don't know. But my kids had plenty of reason to say, you screwed up our lives. We hate you. But they didn't. And I credit them for being such loving, forgiving, incredible human beings. I remember this one time. Bonnie, she has such a heart for the underdog, so much like her father. I mean, they're all that way, but we were in Vermont taking my girlfriend from Idaho on this bucket list trip, and Dennis was so generous. He paid for the whole thing. We flew her from, where the hell did she fly in from? Seattle or something? And, or no, Washington. Well, it doesn't matter. Flew her in, paid for the ticket, round trip. Took her on this incredible, 2-week journey across New England. She wanted to see some particular places in Vermont. Places from like TV shows. Her and her sister had always said they were going to go do that. And then her sister died of cancer. And, I'm sorry. I had a falling out. It was really my own falling out, but that's another story. I was just thinking about it. Give me a second. Oh. So we were in one of these, I don't know if it was Montpelier or what, but we're walking the cute little streets of Vermont, and there was clearly a homeless woman sitting on a bench. And Bonnie was very distressed by the sight. Mom, Dad, can't you give her some money? And so Dennis handed her a $20 bill and he said, you give her the money. I'll never ever forget the look on that woman's face. You know, it doesn't matter what she was going to do with that money, because in that moment she was so overjoyed by it, and it made Bonnie feel better. Oh, you wish you could do so much more. But if it gave the woman lunch and dinner, it's something, right? But Bonnie was like that, you know. Compassion. They all have such incredible traits. They're hard workers. Oh my goodness. They have persistence and drive. Dennis always said, persistence and drive, persistence and drive. That was one of his favorite sayings. And small choices make big changes over time. He always said that one. He had a lot of little sayings that he used that I think he learned from AA. But listening to One Happy Widow, I thought to myself, my family dynamic is such a blessing to me. Don't worry, Mom. Anything goes wrong, you can come stay with us. Even the daughter-in-law, you know. I don't think she'd want me, like, long-term. Because, I mean, they're moving into a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, 3 adults and 1 child. That's going to be rough in itself, believe me. That's going to be rough. And I would never want to put more stress on that dear girl, you know. So... and I don't want to ruin the relationship between me and my children. You know, I mean, we're just different. We're different, and that's okay. You know, I got my way of doing things. They got their way of doing things, and the two shall never quite... though, you know, I mean, I bite my tongue on most things, you know. It doesn't pay to criticize. It's like... whatever. And sometimes you just have to move around something that might, you know, bother you. Though I guess in the past I've been very, you know, I'm a Cancer, the crab, okay? And if something's disturbing me in my, you know, what would you call it? Surroundings. I'll just crawl right into my shell, burrow down into the sand and stay there for a while. I have had a few, it really was when Dennis was sick and I got upset about a couple of things, and it didn't pay to do that. And I think it puts poor Maggie on edge with me sometimes, because she's afraid that if they do something, I'm going to get irritated by it and, you know, burrow down into the sand and go back into my shell. Look, I know what I am. I know what I'm like, and it's got to be okay, you know. I mean, I know what they're like, and that's okay. And I mean, we have a good time together anyway. And, you know, everybody's different. And I think what I'm saying is, I don't think it's a wise idea to criticize your children on your YouTube channel. I just don't think it was very wise, what that woman did. And I guess she deleted those videos, and now she's making like a condensed one without detail, but it still was too much detail in my opinion. I would not do that. I did admit on camera that I didn't like Maggie when I first met her. I was just scared for my son, Michael. I just, you know, and I knew that when you marry someone, you're getting their family too. And I just was nervous about a few things. Because I was judgmental. I admit it, you know. Nothing's perfect. The experience that I had with my husband's family and with my own family, mercy, you know. I'm estranged from my brothers. It has to be. And I'm estranged from my husband's family. It needs to be. But I'm centered and grounded within my own, you know, family, my children and me. And they loved their father with a passion, and they love me with a passion. And I don't know, that's a good thing. And I just guess I wanted to say something about my kids. They're great. We're very close. And as a matter of fact, I feel guilty to leave Florida even for a few moments, you know, several months, because you know, I feel really bad, like with my back right now. I can't help them with Finn when they need to get the new house ready that they're moving into, pulling up rugs, painting rooms. It's going to be a lot of cleaning to be done, and then they got to move everything in. They got a lot of everything. Excuse me. But yeah, I just wanted to be there for them, wanted to help them. And I really feel like I rambled too much and this has gone way too far. Sometimes I have trouble downloading bigger videos, but I'm almost at 30 minutes? How'd I do that? Just rambling on, I guess, about nothing. Well, not nothing, about my kids, and that I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have them. If I ever needed to crash on the floor of their place, I can. Even Rachel, who is in a terrible situation currently, trying to get out of it, really cramped in, and the apartments aren't cared for, that she's staying with a friend, and her and her little doggy, she's like, you can come over here and sleep on the couch if things go south. I'm like, sure. But sure. So yeah, I have support if I really needed it. And I just, being the little crabby creature that I am, I just love my oneness. You never see crabs travel in packs. They're loners. So, and they seem to understand that about me, that I need to retreat. Right now I'm licking my wounds, being my left hip. And Michael says to me last night, I texted him when I'm way beyond, I'm almost at 30 minutes. I texted him and I told him how disturbed I was about what, you know, I don't watch the news. I have no cable, but I had to get internet when Bonnie came to visit, and it's only $60 a month only. And I'm going to be canceling that in July. But What was I saying? Oh, dear God. Oh gosh, this stuff keeps coming up in my YouTube feeds when I press home and I'm looking for something to watch. Oh gosh, I don't want to see this stuff. I don't want to know. And I'm so disturbed by what I'm seeing, especially about major car manufacturers having to stop production. And I'm like, son of a gun. While I'll get good money for my car, it's going to be very hard to find what I want now. Because people are going to have to start buying used. And the prices of used vehicles with like 200,000 miles on them is so alarming to me. But I have faith that something has my back. And even Michael said to me, you'll find what you want when you need it. Don't stop worrying. And I said, yeah, but then there's this going on and that going on, and I'm not prepared for it if this and that happens. And it's like, cut it out, Nikki. I've done this before, and you know what? It all turned out. Somehow I had what I needed, and I believe that I will have what I need once again. You know? Never, ever have I been without food, clothing, and shelter. And some luxuries, you know? So yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And those are my kids, and I just think they're awesome. And, yeah. I hope your kids are awesome too, and if you're estranged, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did right. I'm not sure. But, I don't know. I give my right arm for him. It's kind of useless anyway. No, I'm joking. All right, that's it. So I don't know if I'm back. I just wanted to say this. I don't even know if I'll publish this. Maybe I should listen to it. I'm starving. I'm going to go eat. Okay, bye.